All right. So happy to catch up with you again, Michelle. I think it must be has it been 2 years or 3 years since we started? 3 years. So 3 years ago.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. It seems so much longer.
It was longer. I know.
So 2 years ago, I think that's when Studio Chen Chen just started. You're one of my first clients. And you come to us for a rebrand. While you already have been doing this for how long before you do the rebrand?
About 18 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you already have all the branding. You have the website up. I remember you also have all the graphic for your podcast. But you just feel like you needed to do a rebrand. Can you share with, I mean, I probably remember this, I probably don't remember this, but can you share with us again, why was the reason you feel like a rebrand was needed?
Yeah, totally. So firstly, thanks so much for reaching out, Liv. I love chatting with you all the time. And, as I said to you before we started recording, I so appreciate all of your work, everything you did with the rebrand. So yeah, essentially when I came to you, I was about 18 months into my entrepreneurial journey, I guess you could call it. And I dabbled in a couple of different things, but the one thing that was constant was my podcast. So I started a podcast in 2017, all about the millennial entrepreneur. I took it to New York, I took it to London, and I returned back here to Oz to continue it. It wasn't a massive show, but it was definitely a passion project. And essentially what I realized was that after doing my podcast for about a year or so and, trying to hustle and start businesses that weren't working out for me, what I realized was that there was a gap in the market here in Australia around brands and companies and businesses starting to want to have their own podcast, but not knowing where to start because the medium at that time, early 2018, late 2017 was so new. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially when I thought, perhaps I could teach people what I know and what I've learned and have my business actually become kind of a done for you podcasting service-based business. A production company, essentially. And so that's when I approached you, Liv, and I wanted to do the rebrand.
So you realize because you need to expand the service of your business, like the whole business nature changed. So that's probably the reason you realize, okay, you need a rebrand instead of just using the existing brand.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you found us because, to be honest, by the way, it must be so weird for you being an interviewer. You really being an interviewer. It's weird for me too.
Relaxing.
Doing interview, but I just feel like I need to do this with my clients nowadays. Studio Chen Chen has been 2 years, just like the Peers projects. It's been growing as well, and so I always love to go back to see, how the brand I designed has been progressing. And one thing I'm really, really, really impressed with you is, first of all, our rebrand project was so quick. The decision making was like so quick. You are just very decisive, and I think that's a really good quality when it comes to a businessman, an entrepreneur. So it was really quick rebrand, but I thought it was really successful, and we really take it to a very more conceptual level in terms of branding the peers projects and peers to peers. And then and I was just so happy that you just 100% put your trust in us, just say yes to everything. It's really cool. And so I'm really happy that the brand come out the way it is. And what I'm more impressed with is then after 2 years, this is 2 years on, right? I go back to your Instagram, I go back to your newsletters. It's still top notch. It's still like the quality is still, it's even evolving. You start to use this asset as your own assets, and then it becomes like you have more freedom to evolve it, and so you quickly gather this team together. That's something I'm really impressed with because not a lot of clients were able to do that. There's usually a gap, right? did you go through that transition of like, okay, now I finished this project with the agency, how can I now quickly transition into intern, like an internal in-house team to work for you? Yeah, how did you do that?
Yeah. So firstly, thanks so much. Like, you know, we just love the design so much. And I personally I love what you did for us, Liv. And it was such a strong brand identity. And, you know, as you said, I put a lot of trust in you and in, you know, your creative collaborators. And I'm so glad that I did, because I mean, you know, you won awards for the brand, and it turned out to be so amazing. And I think because it was so strong, I didn't want to lose the essence of it. And I think the way I kind of work also is you know, if I've invested in something and it's going well and it looks great, I really want to keep pushing it. I'm a pusher. You know, so I think what happened was I already knew that either way I wanted the brand to keep going, and I personally don't have the skills to do the level of design that's required, to be honest. And not that, you know, you need to be an absolute expert, but you do have to have some sort of design background to be able to like implement the assets, etc. So essentially the way I went about it, and you know, the way I built the agency, really, the business was just reaching out to freelance designers. So while we were still in the process, I was already reaching out to designers to go, hey, look, I'm going to need someone to help me with social media, to help us with, you know, EDMs, because they've got this amazing brand that's been built, but I want to make sure that we use it. And that was my biggest thing. Like, I want to use this brand. And so that's essentially it. I just reached out to, I think you gave me some ideas, Liv, around like, you know, jump onto some Facebook groups like the Design Kids, just post, you know, ask for freelance designers. Everyone's always looking for work. You were so helpful I mean, you still have been over the years in like helping us source some talent from Shillington Design School. And I've only ever used their designers now because of you. And we have a really good relationship there. So I think if anyone's, you know, in that phase where they've just had a rebrand done, or they're not too sure what to do after that, I think just the best thing is to ask for help and to reach out to those design communities. I mean, I definitely didn't do this alone. And it's so kind that, you know, you say it's so amazing now, but that's really because of the freelance team I've got, you know, and just giving them what they need to do the work that's required.
So you have a in-house freelance copywriter, sound producers, and also the graphic designer. Yeah. So it's definitely worth it to then spend the money to invest on having this. It's not really like a full-time in-house team, was it? No. So it's more freelancers, but then you have this team working for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also another thing for, you know, I get it, small business owners listening or who've just done a rebrand, like, it's not cheap. I fully understand it. Budgets are tight when you've just invested XYZ dollars in a rebrand. But I think, you know, you can get some really great, talented young designers who just want to express themselves. And, you know, when you've already got a full brand identity done, they don't really need to have a lot of skills. Like, they just have to have the basic design skills, and they'll be so grateful that, you know, they get the opportunity to do some work on your brand. So
yeah, I think that's a really good learning experience for young designers too, to learn how to follow a brand guideline, how to maintain the brand aesthetics of the brand. Yeah, so I really love doing that. I mean, every time for all of my clients, I always like, please let me have a briefing section with your designer and whoever you found, just because it's so important to carry on. And it's a shame that Studio Chen Chen is such a small team, so we can't just continue to do retainer works for our clients. But a lot of time I was like, oh, I just don't want my brand to then be watered down, or it wasn't used properly. So then the investment my clients initially invested in me, like, that's the brand, will eventually get less and less valuable, you know. So it's definitely a really great business decision that you made, and I'm really impressed you did that, because now every clients will have the vision to realize how important it is, and quite really impressed at how quickly you just found a team. So great job. And I noticed it's 2 years in, and first of all, you got your first sponsor, right? Your first sponsor for the peers to peers.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was so exciting. And so for those of you listening, Peers to Peers, which Liv actually named the podcast. So it was originally called the Peers Project, that podcast I started off with, that then we built the agency off the back end. But Peers to Peers, yes. So that's our OG podcast. And yeah, this year we signed on Shopify as the official sponsor, and that was just a massive milestone. And again, like all the decks that we put together, everything that we pitched them was in the deck that you created, Liv. Like, so essentially Liv created us this deck, and it's so amazing. We use it for all of our pitch decks, for all client like pitches and how we bring in new clients. And that creative there, the design is just so strong. And I truly believe like people buy into that, like, you know. So I think, yes, of course, we've done great work with podcasts and XYZ and whatever, but then also that strong design looks very professional, but also fun and funky. Yeah, it just helps so much. So again, Liv, like that's all you, like it's so great. And yeah, we're so excited that we were able to sign them on.
And such a great sponsor to Shopify. I'm so happy for you. And then you also end up working, I mean, the production company was doing shows for Alibaba, New Zealand and Australia, and also Modibody.
Yeah.
And I think there's also 2 or 3 more new clients you signed last year. I remember last time when we catch up. So so happy for you. This is exactly what I want to see my clients grow with us. And yeah.
And again, like, you know, the design, like I know I just keep repeating it, but you know, I think like when you go into these rooms with these massive companies and heads of marketing, and they see hundreds of people knocking at their doors, of marketers and agencies trying to get work, you know, it's so tough to stand out. And I think for me and for us, like, there is so much hustle and so much outreach that goes into even trying to lock in a meeting. So when you lock in a meeting, you want to make sure that you wow the prospective client as best you can. And obviously the first thing you show them is the deck. And, you know, the design is like the aesthetic of the brand that you've got there is, it just shows them off the bat, this is kind of the quality, the caliber of the work that we produce, everything down from the design to the copywriting to, you know, just everything, the contents of it. So I think for me as a business owner who wants the best opportunity to try and bring in new business and work with big brands and, you know, that kind of stuff and make an impact, having a really good kind of foundation is key. And what I found, and this is not even, you know, obviously I'm a massive fan of yours, Liv, but like, I just think that a strong brand identity is just so important and so crucial, especially if you're a service-based business and you don't really have a product to show. You know, the product we haven't even created yet, and we're asking people to give us a sum of money, you know, with just a concept. And so that concept, I think the way it's put together, the way it's presented, how it looks, has to almost show the client what they're buying. So yeah, just again on that point, like brand ID and this rebrand just changed the game when I was walking into these meetings, and in so many ways helped me get these meetings.
Yeah.
So,
even I remember you told me just the confidence you feel like you
so
have
different
with your team is just completely changed, because now you feel like this is a legit business.
Legit business.
It's fashionable and it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm so happy for you. And do you, being an entrepreneur yourself and a female founder yourself, and also a small business owner, right? What do you have any advice on people who maybe is hesitant about, is it worth it to invest on branding, or is it do I just don't have enough budget? What should I do? Do you have any advice on that?
Totally. So let's just put it this way. When I came to Liv, you know, I was in a really tough position financially. I didn't have a massive amount of money to spend, but I knew that this was kind of the final. So the rebrand for me was the final, and this last business model and idea I had was really that final step I was going to take. And I was like, look, if this doesn't work out, then it's okay. I can go back to my job, whatever it was. And so I think you just have to think about when you're looking at kind of what's the next right move to make for your business, or, you know, if you're a startup like I was, you know, and I still am, how am I going to try and get this business off the ground? I think there are a couple of key things. One of them being having a pretty strong like sales channel, whether that be you just reaching out to people, that's like all I did. I just reached out to a whole bunch of people on social media. It's free. You know, I spent all my time doing that, you know, so it's that. And then it's also having something to back that up, whether that be a great product to show, or for in my case, a great brand to show so that they understood what my services were about. So I think whether you're creating a product or a service, the advice I would give is what's going to give you the best opportunity to bring in business quickly. And in the early days of business, you need to bring in them quickly. You know, you mentioned, Liv, that you ran so quickly and you had so many people on so quickly. It's really because of that timeline. I just couldn't afford to waste any time. And I had to sign clients ASAP and I had to make it happen. So I think the advice I'd give is identify for you what's going to make you be able to quickly bring in that cash to be able to validate your idea, so then you can start to really grow. And for me, I just thought, look, when I'm reaching out to all these people, that's the best I can do on the sales front. But when I'm getting into the meetings, I really don't feel armed and I don't feel super confident that, you know, like I know what I'm doing, but like I don't have much to show apart from just a verbally expressing myself. And so for me, having the brand identity so strong and a really great brand to lean back on just made me feel super confident to be able to pitch, to be able to bring money through the door, especially in those crucial early days. So yeah, I think in terms of, you know, I could babble on about this forever. Hopefully this is valuable to you guys listening in, but I think at the end of the day, I'm glad. At the end of the day, you know, if you're able to invest, even if it's only $5,000, you know, if you've got 10 plus, that's great. Do it. You won't regret it, and make sure you use the brand.
So good. Thank you so much. That's such a great advice. I was focusing on your amazing skin.
Oh my God.
I was like, how is your skin so good? Is it from Adobe?
So kind, Liv. I feel like lockdown has just got me. That's a nice compliment.
That's off topic, but thank you so much. I just remember it was really fun working on a project because we are dealing with podcasts. We're dealing with sound. Like you said, the product is untangible. It's not something like, here, this is my beautiful makeup product. It's not something that we can design physically to it. So it was really fun. The whole concept we take on how to contextualize sound, the texture. So we work with Na, which is the 3D artist I work with. And that graphic, and I'll put it in this book, but then this graphic that we end up creating was so interesting. And so people wouldn't think of that as like, oh, is it a podcast company, or is it people? It's always intriguing, but until people dig deeper to find out what it is, it's quite how do you say, ambiguous.
Yeah.
I'm just really happy you're willing to take a jump to do this with us, because I know it's very it's not very literal ideas of, okay, this is a podcast company. This is a very abstract idea of how to brand a podcast production company. And I have people asking me, is this poster for sale? People want to get the products. You should really think about it during merch.
I know.
Yeah, but thank you so much. I think this is really good catch up. And I think it's just amazing to catch up with my clients, seeing them doing so well. I know this is, you know, 2020, 2021 is a setback, but hopefully more people are listening to podcasts because of this. And you are one of the first person to really, really introduce me to the importance of podcasts too. It was before everyone got hooked on podcasts, right? At first I was like, really? Do people really listen to podcasts? Until you really convinced me it's true. Everyone's listening to podcasts. It's and brand do needs a podcast. It's true. So thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. And I guess I will say, if anyone's looking to do a rebrand or anything, Liv is your girl. She is absolutely amazing. And I don't even, like, as I said, she has transformed my business. Like, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without Liv and her amazing brand ID that she did for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the rest. Thank you. We'll call this off now. But then thank you so much for joining us today. And I'll catch up with you next time.
Sounds good.
I'm just gonna stop recording.